All right, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak, and I'm trying to keep it steady today and not be in my car. All right, so we're discussing Southern Charm Reunion Part 2. Good reunion, you know. I'll say this, I like this cast because for the most part, everyone outside of JT is pretty much accountable. And that's like one of my favorite things in other humans, you know, when you can actually own your shit. But anyway, so delicious. We open with we pick up with Venita and JT. So Venita goes and gets her phone and basically reads these texts that they're still talking and yada yada yada. Here's what I got from all that. JT, I still don't like you. I still think you're a fuckboy. I think that JT genuinely likes Venita. I think Venita really likes him. I still think, Venita, you could do better. But then again, I'm only judging what we see on the TV screen. Okay. JT may be amazing. I mean, he must be doing something because Venita, I was like, okay. What's crazy though is, here's my thing with JT. This is why when I say I don't like JT, I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like the behavior. JT doesn't know how to fight maturely. He scorches the earth when he gets mad and he becomes very accusatory. And that whole knee-jerk reaction to Venita like saying she needed space. So after a week he posts the other girl, he goes back to the other girl. It just seems like when something isn't going well with the other chick, he runs to Venita and vice versa. Venita, that's not a good position to be in. It is obvious there are real feelings between you two, and it's cute to see that, but I also feel bad because the position that you're in. I've been in that position that Venita's in. It's not a good position to be in, and it's a fucked up position to allow yourself to be in. Venita, you're better than that. You're stronger than that. And don't ever be somebody else's second choice. That's all I'm saying. Because it's giving second choice. But JT, that whole little thing with Craig and him and Shep kind of going at it, it seems like JT is very like, when he gets an idea in his head, and it's like his way or the highway. Just from that was my interpretation, just from the little verbal fisticuffs between him and Shep. But we'll see. I mean, JT is good television, but I think he needs to grow up a little bit and he needs to learn how to fight with maturity. We all fight and argue with each other, but all I'm saying with JT is there is a better way to communicate with people when you're upset with them or when you're upset with something. Anyway, so Craig and Paige, they go deeper into their breakup. And this is what I'm going to say about this. Patricia comes out later on in the show and kind of gives her, she had given her opinion on Paige on Watch What Happens Live. And I agree. She said that she thought that she didn't treat Craig very nice. Like she was kind of mean to him. I agree. And she even said that she felt that Paige was so dismissive of him that it would borderline on rude. Absolutely 1000% agree with that. Totally agree with that. My perception is giving Paige, it was another, let me start that again. My perception of Paige and Craig is I think Paige liked him. I definitely think he liked her more than she liked him. And I also think that Paige was there for the cameras. I'm sorry. I know that's like a typical go-to, but that's just the vibe that I get, like genuinely get. I've never watched Summer House or Winter House. But I don't know. Craig, I think that something much better is going to come along. Paige is a strong woman. She's great. She's beautiful. Good for her. It's just you and her weren't a fit. Lick your wounds. You be cool. Craig, you're a good dude. I like you. You're going to find somebody good. But yeah, Paige, she'll get her karma back. You don't talk to people like that you're in a relationship with. And if that's her way of communicating, then that's a little fucked up. But that's that. So after that, we get to the new people. We talk about Sally and Molly. That's so funny. Their names are Sally. Sally and Molly were kicking a ball with Johnny. So real quick, I talked about this in my other review of the show when I talked about how I wasn't feeling Sally at first, but I grew to like her. Just from, she came off a little slutatious to me, but then it was nice to learn that she's not. Even if she was, it would be fine. But I'm just saying my perception of her was incorrect. So for that, I'm sorry, Sally. I'm sorry. And thank God you are not with that dude, Andrew. Homeboy was creepy from the get. From that nose to that hair. I was like, creepy. I'm glad that you could do way better than that. I love Molly. I think Molly is wonderful. I think that she represents just the average chick. I love that she talked about her insecurities with her, having a new body. I'm 43. I've put on probably 15, 20 pounds in the last 2 years. And for me, that's crazy. And I understand you, Molly. I get it, especially with women, when you get used to looking a certain way and then, your body changes as you grow older, you mature. So it's an adjustment. So I appreciate her sharing that journey. I just like Molly. She omits positive energy, and that's refreshing, especially in the current world that we're living in right now. It's nice to see somebody just be like genuinely positive and cool. And I know that she's not trying. That's clearly that's who she is. So that's what's up. I'm Team Molly. I like Molly. I like Molly for Shep too. I feel like that would be a good, positive, healthy union right there. I could see something really work with them two. But we'll see. They hooked up already, but we'll see. So they touch back on Craig and Austen, and I love Craig, and I like Craig because we have watched him for 10 seasons, 10 years, shit, on this journey. We watched him. We met him when we first meet Craig, we met Craig in a very self-destructive stage, and 20s partying. I feel like everybody's done that. I did that. And I appreciate him sharing his journey with his relationship with alcohol. I can relate to that. I definitely abused alcohol for a long time. Thank God I'm sober now and I don't drink at all anymore. Got a DUI. Woo! Fucked up. So good for you, Craig, for sticking to your guns. I like to watch him and Austen hash out their friendship because they both clearly love each other. But Craig, you got to bring people on your shit too, And I like that Craig, who came off very harsh during the season towards Austen, Craig seemed very like, I'm cutting you off. If it doesn't work in my world, I'm cutting you off. And I get that. And I feel like when I first went on my healing journey and my healthy journey of sobriety and just being a healthier, better human being, I would cut certain people off too, or cut certain things out and not really acknowledge why I was cutting it off, just as it's upsetting my algorithm, cutting you out, So I like that Craig was able to recognize that. I like that Austen was able to recognize where Craig was coming from. That's still a work in progress, but I like the two grown men I wish more men could do what they did, especially on TV. And black men too. You know what I mean? Black men, Latino men, Asian men, all men. Men don't open up the way that they should, and it was nice to see that between those two friends, especially when it comes to addiction, because I feel like a lot of people... Anyway, I like that for them. I didn't mean to talk that long about that. But real quick, I skipped over this. So Taylor and Sally get into it, right? Sally was saying she didn't like that Taylor kept dragging her name, and Taylor's whole thing was, I didn't care about you previously dating Gaston, however you say homeboy's name, or the fact that Sally had hooked up with Shep. Taylor's thing was, you came into my friend circle basically talking about relationships that were directly linked with me, and she didn't like that. I totally get that. Totally get that, Taylor. I also get where Sally's coming from, because Sally, after they spoke, Sally was like, I agreed to stop after we spoke, but then you continued to carry my name around. Now, Sally, I understand being annoyed about that, but if you look at the bigger picture, Sally, you kind of opened the door to that because you started off talking about Taylor and her relationships. So if she chose to now drag you, that's par for the course, baby. But I do want to add, I really think that Taylor still is in love with Shep. There is still a lot of hurt. Well, I don't know if she's in love with Shep. I don't know if she's in love with Shep. I do think there still are feelings for Shep. Because when she made that comment about why do you care now when you had a girl's tongue down your throat, and I'm thinking, you over here talking about marrying your new man, and you're bringing up a girl, Shep's tongue down another girl's throat when you're talking about marriage to your boyfriend in the same setting. That's a conflict of interest for me. From my vantage point, that seems a little weird. I think Taylor is still very hurt, and I do think there's still a little bit of feelings there. There has to be, otherwise why would she be hurt? So, I don't know. Interesting season. I think next season is going to be really interesting, especially with the Venita and JT drama. Venita, please don't be somebody's second choice. Please don't do that to yourself. You are too cute for all of that and too smart for that.